Hey there! Long time no see since our last Burp of Wisdom. So, in today's Burp of Wisdom number 7, magic number 7, I will show you how you can make some cool, sound effects and like a drowsy, drony sounding type of soundtrack, ambiental crap, call it whatever, because I'm running out of words. But yeah, this is something that usually I was doing whenever I was trying to play with, recreating some of the atmosphere from the movie The Crow, 1994, Brandon Lee. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're missing out on an amazing movie. So yeah, it's not necessarily 100% from that thing, but for me personally it kind of gives the same vibe. So let me first just show you what I mean and how my current preset sounds like, and then I'll walk you through what you can do in order to achieve this effect or something similar. You can toy around with it and you can modify it according to your preferences, right? So yeah, so as a bass thing, you can actually do some really cool, cool thing, right? Or, I mean, if you don't like the type of thing that I'm showing for this episode, I guess you can just close right now. But in case you do like it and you're interested, let me just walk you through the very simple things that I did. So basically, I just have normal, let's say, rock distortion, not super distorted, not something like extreme heavy metal. It's mostly like a rock type of sound. Let me just try to. And my guitar was awfully out of tune, but fortunately it did not matter that much when doing the whole atmospheric thing I just did, right? So yeah, won't spend time right now to tune up my guitar because it's valuable video time for you guys. So doesn't matter, you kind of got the taste for how the distortion sounds. It's like a hard rock sound. It's not super mellow, it's not super extreme, extremely distorted. So yeah, that's about it. And then just for the fuck of it, but you can completely ignore this step, you can just have a sort of delay. That's kind of like the delay that I'm having. So you can try reproducing that type of delay, but the delay will pretty much be drowned inside the next step, which is the reverb. So yeah, before going to the reverb, you probably noticed that my sound is a little bit too sterile. It's too dry and kind of jumps up and down in terms of dynamics. That's because I have a pretty well, not very aggressive, but a pretty solid noise gate on, because what happens is when you finally build up all those stages with the reverbs and so on, every little bit of noise and crack, hiss, fizz, whistle, whatever, just tends to get over amplified and taken on a it kind of builds up in a very nasty way. It's almost like a positive feedback type of loop. And in order to avoid that, you want to have a pretty solid noise gate, in the beginning. You kind of get the idea, right? It's not super aggressive. It doesn't cut off the note completely at lower pick attacks, but still it's pretty decent. So I just wanted to mention that very quickly, because if I wouldn't have, you would pretty much do the whole thing, the whole sequence, and you would just end up with a bunch of noise and you would be frustrated and whatnot. So yeah, make sure you have a noise gate. No need for compressor, anything like that. Just make sure you have a decent distortion. Delay if you feel like it, but again, it's not mandatory. And now this is what I did, right? In order to achieve that super crazy reverb, I, for one, do not know of any normal reverb pedal that achieves that huge amount of sound in terms of the wall of sound, and it just has an enormous tail to the reverb. So I kind of have to stand corrected. There are a few pedals out there, but they're like some really expensive boutique or very niche reverb modules specifically that just cost way too much. It's like hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Right now from the top of my head I forgot what the name was for one or two of them, but it was like some some super expensive units, so you don't need to mess with that. So what you can do instead is you can use whatever cheap reverbs you have. If you don't have standalone pedals, maybe you have a few crappy cheap processors, you can just stack up one after another with no effects enabled other than the reverb, so the whole processor acts as reverb only. And yeah, you can just stack like 2 or 3 or how many you feel like you need to until you achieve this effect. In my case, I'm having a VST, which is guitar rig, as you probably already know. That's what I'm using mainly. And what I have right now is 2 stacked little reflectors. So I have 2 little reflectors, one on top of the other, right after the delay, which again can be optional. You'll barely hear it. It just has a little bit of contribution to the whole effect and atmosphere thing you're trying to creating. And both of the little reflectors are on the XXL setting. If you have it, you'll know that's the longest, because you have short, medium, long, XXL. Insert penis joke right there. Both of them are fully onto the wet setting, so you don't want any of the dry. You don't want any of the direct, wavefront. You just want the tail part of it. I have maximum wetness again. I have maximum decay. Just like very little low cut here and there. And the only difference that I did was because I just wanted to play with the 2 effects. For one little reflector I have the A type of XXL, for the other one I have the B type of XXL. They're just slightly different impulse responses. That's it. But yeah, so here's the whole thing with only the delay on. Again, you can skip the delay once you go into the reverb. Now, this is what happens with just one stage. already pretty much muffling the whole thing. It's not very distinguishable when you're trying to play something fast, so you need to leave space between the notes or phrases or scrapes or whatever trick you're trying to employ. It's already pretty much mushy enough. Now I'll just deactivate the first one and I'll activate only the second one so that you can hear the second one in isolation as well. You can see that they're pretty much similar in terms of how they sound as a tone, but the second one has a much longer tail in terms of how it's being perceived. And again, the second one is the B channel. So together, when I stack them, I end up with what you heard in the very beginning, right? So again, you have to be very careful with any micro sound that you do. Like you've noticed, after I did the bend, I just held it up there and very softly I came back, making sure that this friction between my, my fingers, the tip of my fingers and the fretboard gets eliminated, and I also muted the whole thing. So you can experiment with such things, but again, just make sure you have a noise gate, and B, you put a lot of care into what you're doing with both of your hands. Even this gets heavily amplified. This thing right here, like the string noise, gets heavily amplified. So yeah, again, this is what I'm using. I'm using guitar rig with little reflectors, two of them stacked on top of each other, one channel A, one channel B, fully turned on to the wet side of the volume, full decay. For one of them, no low cut. For the other one, something like low cut is at probably 2 o'clock, something like this, and that's pretty much it. Now again, if you don't have my exact settings, you don't have to be annoyed or whatever. If you have guitar rig, you can fully do this. If you don't have it, you can just use whatever you have lying around the house. If you have something in your house, like a cheap pedal or a pedal and a processor, or 2 processors or whatever, my advice is that you obviously need, I think, more than one unit, unless you have like an extreme reverb unit. You will need 2 of them stacked on top of one another. But I guess depending on how powerful the reverb is, you won't need more than 2, maybe 3 if you have like some pretty low reverbs, like 1 second only max for the time decay. That's pretty much it. I hope you really enjoyed this one, and I hope it was a bit of a refresher in terms of giving you ideas on what to do with your spare time when you're not feeling like practicing or noodling or whatever. And please let me know what you thought of this in the comment section below, and drop a like, dislike, hate, whatever, and ask me anything you want to know about this particular episode or any requests for future episodes, right? So until next time, guys, see you, and don't forget to watch the movie, right? The Crow with Brandon Lee. You will not regret it. Even if you've seen it in the past, just rewatch it. It's amazing. So see ya.